You will have to jump off a cliff, just knowing that you will not crash. Let me tell you, everybody has their baggage and everybody has their demon. So you might as well deal with your own demon and everything will work out fine. If you're not in control of your emotions will be in control of you.
Well, first off, taking a risk. We must understand what risk is. For me, I think risk is a perception of someone being afraid to lose something precious or being exposed to harm.
Being able to push forward when you are not sure of all the possibilities, when you don't have all the answers, being able to be courageous in the face of danger.
The fear of failure, be it in whatever aspect of risk you're actually taking. Business, relationship, life choices, and all that. And I think what the essence of taking risk in life is actually growth. You know, we always want to grow, but there's a risk in making a choice. And taking a risk in life means, in a nutshell, leaving your comfort zone. If you do want to succeed in whatever it is, if you do want to grow, if you do want to make a choice that would stand, you have to take a risk. And to me, in my opinion, taking a risk is leaving.
Using an instance, when there are multiple choices that you can make, there are no clear paths or no clear ends. That gives you room to make decisions. And to achieve any goal in life, you have to just take a course and stick to it till you get to your expected end. Decision making comes to play when you have multiple roads, multiple paths to take, and you have to take calculated risks to get to expected ends.
Weigh your options, and once there's a 50% chance, you take it. And taking a risk is also different. There's a thin line between taking a risk and, you know, taking a leap of faith. And in business, we do not know what leap of faith is. We only know what calculated risk is. And if you do not take a risk, then you will miss out on the reward. As a popular saying goes, no risk, no reward.
In my short time on earth, I've taken risks and risks and risks. And each risk makes some of them go well, obviously, and some of them not so well.
Now, if you don't take the risk, you will miss out on something great. And there's always the fear of, oh, what if I make this decision and it ends up bad for me, or I end up at the bottom, or I fall. And there's a saying my dad always tells me, you know, may he so rest in peace. While I was young, he said, why do we fall? Well, it's always because so we could learn to pick ourselves up. So taking a risk for me is something I would always want to do, depending on whatever decision I am taking in life. If there's a chance of progression, or there's a chance of me getting what I want, so long as there is a chance that I would make it, I will take it, regardless of what the outcome might be, regardless of the challenges that comes with it.
People that change the world today are people that took risks one way or the other.
I took a risk, but I took a calculated risk. I still have my degree. You know, I can always go back to law if things don't work well in farming. So that's a calculated risk, but I'm taking a risk in farming because it's what I feel I have a passion for and I can do. Now, diving into agriculture, you know, and livestock, I actually knew nothing about agriculture, even because over my time in school, I chose home management over agriculture studies. And I had no idea what it was or how to take care of, you know, livestock.
taking risks involves not knowing all the possible outcomes, but going ahead all the same. When you don't know all the possible outcomes, you definitely have fear in your heart. You don't know if this will lead you to where you want to go, but you have to keep pushing. You have to calculate, sometimes go back to the drawing board, re-strategize, and go again. Fear comes into play because you are not sure this might work for you, but you have to keep pushing.
Though what I feel is when you have a dream and it's a passion you have, regardless of fear, take it. You're scared of failing? Well, you fail. But failure is not the end, it's a lesson. You know, you learn and become stronger, because if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
The biggest room, they say, in life is the room for improvement. For you to grow, you have to leave your comfort zone. No growth happens in your comfort zone, and all growth happens outside of the comfort zone. So, for lessons, all the important lessons that you will learn are going to come when you are not sure of all the answers that you need.
Well, first step I would tell you, being scared is normal. If you're not scared, then there's something wrong with you. We're all scared of something, especially in making decisions, you know.
Nothing good comes easy. You have to just keep pushing forward, regardless of the risk, regardless of the possibility of failure. If you want to make any good thing in life, there is always a possibility of it going the other way. So just keep pushing forward. Set your goals ahead of you. Put your goals in front of you. Make sure you remember why you want to do this so thing, and stick to it. And in the end, you will find out that sometimes when you do the right things, it is always worth it. You will always grow at the end of it all.
If you have fear for taking a risk, you should overcome it. You fight your demon, and believe in me, you will come out strong. I am strong.
Thank you so much for tuning in today. You are watching Emotions with Omenesa. This is pretty much a show where I give you advice and I suggest to you to not allow your emotions control you, but be in control of your emotions. Be in charge. And I have found out that in accomplishing your dreams and in actually actualizing your dreams, you will have to take a risk. You will have to jump off a cliff, just knowing that you will not crash. I grew up singing, traveling all over the world with my parents, doing ministry, just traveling everywhere. And it was either I was singing, or I was writing a song, or I was writing a book. I've always been doing something. But there came a point in my life where I started getting a little bit of low self-esteem. I have always been a go-getter. I'm always somebody who just goes. I do stuff that people say they can't do. But I just got to some point in my life where I pretty much lost my passion. I just lost that drive. And I think that is because of such a long journey. You know, people think that you have to be a certain age, maybe when you're 50 or maybe when you're 60, then you can say that you've had a long journey. I do understand that, but when you start living your dreams and you actually start being in the limelight or preaching or singing like I was doing, or just being involved in ministry, when you start doing that at the age of 3, and then 4, and then 5 and 6, and you're traveling all over the place, and by the age 10, you are already sleeping in hotels. You are already preparing to minister to thousands of people. When you start that early, by the time you hit 30, you feel like you've lived like 1,000,000 years. And even though that's a major accomplishment, you could also find out that your passion could dwindle a little bit, or you could just get tired. So by 2011, I was tired. I actually forgot that I will need to get married at some point. I hadn't planned on marriage. I didn't plan on anything. All I wanted to do was sing and be a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I was just going to be somebody who would get into the minds of people, help them recoup their lives, and then go back on the pulpit and sing and preach if I had to. That was the plan. But by 2011, I was tired. I was very, very tired. However, in 2009, I was ministering in Nigeria. This man came up to me, told me that he loved me, yada, yada, yada. That's a story for another time. But anyway, it was my husband. He proposed, and I told him, okay, well, if you could wait for 2 years, I will marry you. And God knows that in my mind, he was not going to wait for 2 years. I mean, like 2 years is really a long time. And dude called me 2011 and he said, hey, it's been 2 years. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I love you too. So let's go ahead and do this. Now, prior to getting married, there was some risks that I hadn't taken yet. I had a house, I had a car, I had 3 jobs. I was working my butt off. I have never been somebody to just sit down. So I had a good job and I was doing well. But God needed to stretch me. I needed to be stretched. There's somebody that's watching today. You need to be stretched. And you may be wondering why you're having some challenges and why you are beginning to think in a different way. Maybe you are actually beginning to familiarize yourself with ideas that you would never even have thought about. Maybe you are beginning to consider, maybe I should become a model. Maybe I should sing. Maybe I should be a writer. You know, maybe all the compliments that people have been giving you, maybe it's beginning to stick, and just maybe you are thinking about actually taking greater strides. That's where I was in 2011. Even though I was tired of all the singing, all the ministering, and all of that, I knew that a change just had to take place. I knew that. And that's why I love life. Life has a way of pushing you. Life has a way of shaking you up, of stretching you, even when you don't want it. So even when you are tired and when you don't feel like you can do it, life has a way of orchestrating some type of situation, some type of scenario that would wake you up and you would just find yourself in your dreams. I knew for a fact that I had to move, but it didn't make any sense because in reality, I had just finished school. It took me 8 years to graduate from the university, just all kinds of drama. But it took me a very long time to graduate, and now I had finally graduated, and I was really, really thinking about doing my master's, and you know, and then I was gonna work at 7 counties. That was my dream. I just wanted to just be like an intern in counseling and then eventually become a psychologist. I was just so passionate about that. But this night, like, I just sat down in my room and I just knew for a fact that I had to move to Nigeria. And that didn't make any sense because I was overqualified for a lot of jobs that were there. I mean, like, how do you trade in a blue passport for a green passport? I am a dual citizen. However, most people would just feel like that doesn't make any sense. But you see, when purpose supersedes reality, when purpose supersedes common sense, everything will eventually make sense. So, what did I do? I was like, I don't think I can take this move. I don't think I can move. I don't think I can do this. Well, one day I woke up in the morning and my tires were flat. Flat. I couldn't go to work. So I had to call my job at the time. I was a cashier. At this particular job, I had 3 jobs. So at this job, I was a cashier. And I called and the manager, I told her, I said, I don't think that I can come to work because of my car. I don't have a ride, yada, yada, yada. I live in downtown. It's going to take me a while to get to work. I didn't even finish the sentence when she said, well, you don't even have to come in ever. You're fired. And, excuse me? And she said, yes, you were fired. And she went off and she was just saying all kinds of things that were so inappropriate. But however, once again, when purpose supersedes common sense, things will start to fall in place. Things will start to fall in place. And that shocked me because her response was just not normal. Like, that wasn't a normal response. But she fired me. So, hey, I had 2 jobs now open. And then I went to work in the afternoon. That's to my other job where I was a waitress. And when I got there, they told me that they had demoted me from being a waitress to being a busser. And y'all know what that means. I mean, like, the bussers get paid from the waitresses. So, I mean, no, I just couldn't do it. First of all, what actually caused the demotion was because at a few days prior to that, I had taken on a table. I think it was a table of 8 or a table of 12, but it was a lot of people on that.
This is the network service of the NTA. We now join our outside broadcast crew for a live telecast.